Welcome to the Borderlands Trail and Ultra Running Podcast. My name is Josh Rosenthal. We are endeavoring to do something that doesn't even make sense to me necessarily on paper, but after we talk about it, it makes sense every time. We're doing Paris Fashion Week and Western States coverage at the same time, thanks to partners like Naked Sports and Aire Libre, where you can discover the world through running. Check those links out in the show notes. Like we're doing something that feels ambitious. And it's because I think it's connected. It really is connected. It's two different forms of running culture. Western States, for those of you listening, most of you already know how we think about Western States, what we think about it, how excited we are about it, how much we love it, why it's the premier American ultra at this point in time, the premier American 100-miler. So where does Paris Fashion Week fit into it? This is the best I can gather at this point. I've been there, and I'm thinking, when I was there, I was like, oh my God, I really loved how I felt when I was there because of the people. Paris Fashion Week to me represents a more pure version of running, which I know feels at odds with what you would think it is because it's Fashion Week, it's luxury, it's really expensive running stuff, which is apparently the antithesis of running to a lot of people, that if it's expensive or if you care about how you look while you're wearing it. But what I've experienced there and what I'm seeing is that these brands like Soar Running or like all these that Sam, Lohse, and I are going to talk about today, they love running. Like running for the sake of running is what's happening within these brands. So in the end, you could potentially not buy the $130, shirt or $250 pair of shorts, but ingrain within these communities of runners, and you will be surrounded by people who don't care how far you go, don't care how fast you go. They just care that you're out there, and they know that you're out there for your own reason. And ironically, that's coming through Paris Fashion Week, the epitome of luxury and disconnect from the average person. But now I think more than ever, they reflect an average person, even if you can't afford the stuff. Okay, Sam, welcome. You and I are working on something called High Tones together. That's going to really make sense also over the course of the next 2 weeks. So first, tell me, what do you think about what I said about Paris Fashion Week, and what's your read on it?
Yeah, the purest, or what did you say, the most pure form of running, that's going to get some backlash. But I know
it's going to like
that. No, it's not like that. But I think you make a good point. Running has evolved now into like a cultural phenomenon, similar to where skateboarding, snowboarding was in the 2000s, and it's evolved commercially as well, which has positives and negatives, as anything does that evolves commercially. But brands now are producing things that are of better quality, aesthetically different, functionally different, and that's like all coming together at a place like Paris Fashion Week. You have boutique brands who are popping up to kind of capture this like running culture, that most of them, if not all, are a part of or ingrained in. Like, that's one of the things that I've come to know too, is that like at these brands, you might think like, these people don't run. And then you look at, maybe some of their designers or their founders or whatever, and they're good runners, like, or good athletes, whatever it is, cyclists. And it's just they happen to love design too. And they're good at it. And culturally, they're able to bring that all together and start to create, movements for running in some ways. Like, back in the day, running was very punk rock. Even in trail running specifically, was like punk rock. Like, you think of Unbreakable 2010 when you're watching that, and all the lead dudes, Jeff, Anton, they're just like stuffing bottles into their short lines and like running shirtless for 100 miles. Like, it was so not pretty compared to like road running. And that kind of went mainstream, and now I think it's circling back to punk rock, even from like a boutique level. So it's just a cool expression of people who want to be active in this cultural side of it, and Paris brings that together. And you think about it in it's, typically people think of Paris Fashion Week as runways and couture shows, and our side is a little different than that. We're going to visit showrooms, we're participating in events, small get-togethers, a DJ set by Tim Soar, or a bandit race on the Seine. Like, it's not as glamorous as that couture side, but it's a little more underground. It's a little more guerrilla, like it, and that's super cool. So
I tell you, and part of why I talk about it being a pure form is because the personalities that I've met that exist within it really seem to champion running for the sake of running, and they like to look good when they run. And I think to some degree, like, okay, I always talk about this. I come from the dirtbag school of trail running. I like that the most. I just want to get out there and run. But the reality of, of someone with, degree in branding and thinking about branding a lot and obsessed and building several brands over the course of my life, there is no such thing as anyone consuming anything that doesn't then represent who they are. Yeah. So as the dirtbag, I would say, I don't care. Therefore, I'm going to put this thing on. I'm not going to name a brand, but I'm going to put that brand on because I don't care. And I just want this thing on me. Well, I'm actually saying something about myself by doing that. I think what's happening in this fashion movement is that it's that they're just being a little bit more intentional about what they're saying about themselves. Like, for example, you wear Currently Running, which I mentioned, or Portal. Like, when you put those on, you're saying something about yourself. You're using those clothes to communicate who you are. And in that, it's this self-expression. So you're using this as a means of expressing who you are. We can get more niche within running. The bigger running grows, the more micro we can get with the communities within it and finding people who run for the same reasons that you run. And I think just what I encountered there, back to that purity statement, is that a lot of people who ran because they wanted to, in that punk rock element of like, I'm not going to run an event. I'm never going to run Western States. I don't even care. That sounds awful, but I'm going to go out and run 7 days a week for an hour a day.
Yeah. And just like anything, like, it's happened in every sport that's almost ever existed. Like, people, there will inevitably be a movement of people who care about what they're wearing and how they wear it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a $200 t-shirt. It can be a thrifted old, North Face, like Steep Tech shirt that you found on eBay paired with some flowy old track pants or track shorts from the 90s that you somehow thrifted. Like, people inevitably just will care about what they're wearing or how they're wearing it. And that's super cool. And I think, obviously that hits commercially and you get people who make brands on it. And, that's also great. But one of the reasons that I think it's important that, like, we're there is that, if people, the runners dictate, what shows up in the running world, right? So if people are into these brands and they're buying it and they find value in that, like, then that's great. And that's why it's important that, more core running outlets such as Borderlands will show up to Paris Fashion Week and push these brands out to Borderlands audience, and let them digest it, let them see it, because that's an important piece with any evolving or growing sport. It's like, let's make sure the runners dictate running.
I love that. I mean, that's the foundation. This was your idea. This is where you and I started to become friends, is when you were like, hey, we love this movement. It's if it's not for the runner, the problem is that they're marketing to runners, making claims of performance. But if it's not actually living up to those claims of performance, then it's extractive in nature and taking advantage of this running movement. And then runners are going to buy it, and they're only going to buy it once. If it sucks, not going to buy it again. Those brands won't succeed, but they're going to be convinced through great marketing and this beautiful aesthetic to want to buy these items. And they make that first purchase and they're disappointed. You were saying, hey, let's get someone who has run credibility to start putting this stuff through the paces. Like, can SOAR stuff hold up? Let's use SOAR as the example, because when we kind of piloted some articles that we could start to send around as we're shaping this idea of high tones, which is holding luxury fashion brands accountable for their performance claims. We started with SOAR, and we started with SOAR because they are high price point, but they have technology in the clothes. And you won the half marathon of my race, I should say, wearing a SOAR hat. You're wearing some SOAR gear
and some SOAR shorts.
And so, like, you're kind of living that of like, okay, let's put this stuff through the paces so we can make sure that runners are being served in this, because runners are the ones being marketed to.
exactly. I'm wearing this Nure shag tee.
Yeah.
Shout out to Nure. I think honestly one of the coolest and most innovative brands out there.
GNUHR.
Yep,
Yep.
GNUHR. I'm blanking on the founder's name, but he's a really talented and skilled designer.
Former
But
Louis Vuitton
on
designer.
Nike,
Yep.
several brands, but um,
Yay. Yeezy.
yeah, Yeezy. Um, but this is, it can look gimmicky, and by no means am I saying that it is. But I bought it, and the first time I wore it was on a run. It's like, I'm gonna go run in this because obviously that's what this is marketed as, and it performed great. And that's the purpose. Like, if
Yeah.
these things are marketed, go use them for that. And I hope that people are. And somebody like or a brand like Muir is producing like in a very innovative method. His vest that recently came out that I'm kind of kicking myself for not getting
You missed it.
looks super amazing. The shorts also like look so modular and cool. And I reposted it to my story, and I got people responding like, "What is this? Like, is this for real?" And like, oh, like the face mask is crazy. It's like, yeah,
Right.
some of that's can look a little crazy, but like this stuff is technical, and I hope that uh, through outlets like us, like Borderlands, like people will be more accepting to more innovative stuff like that comes
Yeah.
out. And honestly, this T-shirt was like $80. I think maybe I could be wrong, but dude,
Surprising.
that's a North Face Summit Series shirt.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's not a crazy price point, and it's new and different, and that's awesome. Like
Yeah.
that's what we need.
All right. Me 10 years ago would punch myself in the face for what I'm about to say. And me 30 years ago would like in the throat, like just hit
Yeah,
me. That the other day I went running, and this I don't think they fit squarely in this, but I'm just going to use this as an example.
yeah,
I got some Say Sky stuff, and I was running in it, and it looks nice. And coming out of Copenhagen and having Copenhagen in your DNA, I think it's impossible to design anything other than cool, in my
yeah,
opinion.
yeah,
And I ran, I'm not super speedy, but you have the stuff on, and I ran like a high 7-minute mile, and
dude.
you look good and you feel good. I mean, I would 10 years ago, face punch in the face. 30 years
Yeah.
ago, punch me in the throat.
Oh,
But
that's
you do like you wear some stuff, you feel good. You look and
yeah,
I ran faster. I just it feels good to look like maybe you're speedy. I'm never going to be Adam Peterman or Hans Troyer or Jim Walmsley, but you feel good sometimes. You feel like an
yeah.
athlete out there. That's an important feeling when you can afford it.
It's 100%. I mean, it's the school of Deion Sanders. You look good, feel good, play good, right? But
Yeah, good call. Bring it,
um,
Dion.
yeah, I think that's a Deion quote, right?
If not,
Um,
I'm sure he's said it. If
I'm
it's not, if he
almost
didn't start
positive
it.
it is. But it's true. Like, it's whatever people feel comfortable in, and like whatever makes you feel good about being out there. Obviously, there's a time and a place for more expensive items, and you don't want the whole industry to get exorbitant in costs,
Yes.
and you want it to be accessible, and that's super important in maintaining that and always having those outlets for people who just want to get out. But like you said,
Yeah.
if you want to pay more for different things, that's and you can, like, why not? If it makes you feel different or good or
Yeah.
whatever it is. Like, my philosophy is, if you're running a lot, if you're running 5 to 6 days a week or whatever, why not? And you want to spend your money, why not? You're gonna
Right.
feel better or have more fun, and it's something that you invest in every single day. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a
And what's
good,
nice about all this stuff, we're in an era where this stuff can be your, like you're showing here, can be your everyday wear as well.
yeah,
So the running is no longer relegated to your 10K, your Paris 10K shirt.
yes,
You don't your running stuff looks like what you're wearing, and so it's it is pulling double duty.
yeah. No, it's the closer we can get to just like uh there's less, I guess, labels on what you're wearing, right? You can
Right.
just wear running shoes out, but they're just shoes.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah.
And Norda's done a good job in pushing that. I know that people get flack sometimes because it's like your boy Scott Jurek will make a meme about
Sure.
and then Norda being a Cortada shoe, but it's cool that people would want to just wear that to the coffee shop too. Like,
Yeah.
okay, if you don't run that much, or if
Yeah.
you just hike or whatever it is, like, great.
Yeah, I'll tell you, to do all this Paris Fashion Week coverage, so I'll be with you just about every showroom possible.
Yeah.
We're grabbing content, we're doing showroom features. I'll be honest, I don't own I don't feel great about my clothes that I'm wearing.
I'll bring some stuff for you.
Yeah, bring me some clothes, bring me some shirts to wear. But the thing is that I feel like this is actually important, because one of the things that kills me within trail running is that there can be like this gatekeeping mentality of, running is one thing. Running is my way, whoever my is. Someone saying that of prominence, like this is the way, or offering critique like when someone does this, that's not trail running.
Right.
Well, what I want to be a part of is like breaking all that down and saying, your first reaction is going to be what my first reaction was, is like, Paris Fashion Week, this is ridiculous. And then, but when you lean into it and see the people and the passion and the care and the concern, and to your point, the same price points as a North Face, same price point as Solomon gear. Like, it's just different branding, but this is a movement. This movement that's happening at Paris Fashion Week is attracting new people to running. It's satisfying different people, like people who've already been in it. It's satisfying them in a new way, reinvigorating. It's making them excited. It's bringing them in. It's building communities. And I think all this is kind of getting pushed through run club culture and all these connections that are happening there. I want to show off that this is meaningful and that these people are runners too.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's nobody likes gatekeeping.
No.
And anyone should be able to participate in running who wants to participate. Again, like, I think it's great that more core audiences, like, Borderlands, us. I was so proud. I heard Finn on Single Track the other day talking about Muir. It's like, and shout out to Finn. I love Finn. That's good. Like, the core audiences should be participating in this conversation, because it's not gatekeeping, but I do believe that, like, or I want the core audiences to provide input on all parts of running culture, because they are they're the runners. Like, go up, talk about it, explore it, maybe try out a new brand, like buy a Nur shirt if you can and if you want, and running it. And that's why I think it's cool that we're showing up to Paris Fashion Week. So I can understand why people would be maybe jaded or not get it when you see it online and it looks just super done up and glamorous and like it's staged for Instagram. Like, I get that can be a part of this kind of,
it can be off-putting.
Boutique running culture, but that's why I'd encourage, like, more core outlets, like, dive into it, talk about it, show up at Paris Fashion Week if you can, and like, go talk to these brands, and it'll be cool. Like, I'm expecting to see just like go talk to the Portal dudes and chat about running. Like, they run. We're grabbing coffee with Balmoral Sports, like a running brand from Canada. Like, that's a classic runners thing. Show up for early morning coffee, go out for a run. Like, it's just casual. And people just want to talk to you about their product, and that's super cool.
Yeah, I mean, and in some levels, TRE is probably more widely accepted among the core audience. This is just TRE for a subset of different brands. And yes, sometimes they're more expensive, but just their marketing is different. It's really a TRE.
For running, I would say it's Paris Fashion Week. This is going to sound crazy, is much scrappier.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. That's part of those things that doesn't make sense with Paris Fashion Week. Like, it's just at odds with itself. There's this tension, because I agree. It's this established Paris thing that feels scrappy. That's a great word.
You still have these small, these brands are smaller. Most of the ones that we're visiting, and an investment in Paris Fashion Week is very likely, for a lot of them, a very big investment. They're not giant brands like Adidas or Nike or Hoka or North Face, whoever who's showing up to TRE, who
Yeah.
plans on spending a lot of money at trade shows every year, and TRE being one of them. But
Right.
so it's scrappy, and like they want to make the most out of it. They want to host buyers in their showroom. They want to have media people come in and talk, get their product out there. Then they want to flip the lights off or dim them at 8 p.m. and have a DJ come in and have people hang out in the space and like create a culture out of it. And culture is such like an enigmatic word, like people use it all the time, but in this instance, it's just like the running cultures. People are just out and about. Like,
Yeah.
people
Right.
are out there. They're running,
Yep.
they're gathering, they're hanging, and like
Yeah.
chatting about running clothes. Like that's sweet, and we need more of that.
Yeah. Well, so you'll get here next week, and I don't know when this will release. So you're getting here the week of Paris Fashion Week. Hit up all these showrooms, do all this content, go to some of the early morning runs and some of the evening party type DJ stuff. Then we'll put on our race together, the race the Seine on the 26th, that Thursday at 9. That'll be fun.
Yeah, should be a blast. I mean, those types of events are so cool. And we, in the US at least, we don't have a ton of that going on, especially like in Salt Lake. I think Europe in general is very good about like these kind of off the cusp running
community
events, community gatherings, like whatever you want to call it. Like Europe is really pushing that forward, and that's cool. That's part of the reason why I think Paris Fashion Week will be awesome. But Bandit Race, man, that's fun.
Yeah, pumped on that. That'll be like 4K Cadence Runners, like one of the largest run clubs here in Paris, will join us, and Naked Sports Innovations doing some stuff there for us. Aire Libre Near Earth is giving away stuff at that, and SOAR is giving kits to first place male, first place female. And then in the midst of all that, then all of a sudden I'll be doing the Western States coverage every hour on the hour until F1 comes through, which is going to be like 16 hours. So that should be crazy as well.
Yep. Which would be, and States is awesome. And like, I would love for the day. It's hard because pro trail runners need and should be paid by their sponsors, but man, it would be so awesome if one day you flipped on the States coverage and somebody was like in a SOAR kit or a a Portal kit, Satisfy kit, whatever it is, in the front group.
Yeah, dude. I think that's coming. I think we're at the beginning stages, maybe a decade away. And to me, what that represents is and I think this is what you're saying, the coming together of two cultures.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And just to see like, to see something different on the biggest stage, and see the fastest athletes in the world like care about that or express themselves, and some do in different ways. Jim, he loves his like pinkish purple Hoka hat, and Courtney, obviously the iconic shorts that Solomon has leaned into some. So it's cool to see that, and I think let's say there was no such thing as, there weren't sponsors paying professional athletes like good wages, and they could just pick whatever. Like I think a lot of these people would wear crazier, cooler, different stuff more than you'd think, just by judging them, by being like a pro athlete. You might think they don't care. I think a lot more people would care.
That would be fun to see what they would actually be wearing if they didn't have sponsor gear.
Yeah, like I think it would. I think people just generally like that more. Like it's you're able to express yourself, and that's cool.
Yeah, totally. Well, man, I'm pumped. Thanks for joining me on this. They're going to see your face a ton next week. I can't believe it. And again, who knows when this will air, but next week as we speak right now, it's going to be crazy. So I'm stoked to have you up here, and let's do this again soon.
Yeah, it'll be a blast.
All right, man.
Thanks,
Take care.
Josh. See ya.